This is the village of Al-Ais. It's a main transportation route, but the Russians have declared this one of 3 locations that Syrian civilians in Idlib can use to flee these areas and move to regime-held areas. Right across this checkpoint is the checkpoint of Al-Hadid. It's currently under the control of the Syrian regime. Before, of course, this was a route that was used by many people, but Russia issued a statement saying that they will allow the civilians to leave these areas and go into regime-held areas. But this doesn't mean that everything is fine, because despite that, violations of the ceasefire and attacks continue over here, which is why I want to get to cover real quick. There were also reports that the Syrian regime has been targeting civilians in this area, which means that we need to be careful. One of the main things, of course, that surrounds this deal is I don't see anyone here. This doesn't mean that nobody will go to opposition regime-held areas, but the general public say that they don't feel safe, and there are a number of reasons. Of course, the reason being the Syrian war, since it started in the early 2011. And then, of course, the onslaught of relentless campaigns and offensives by the Assad regime. But there are also reasons of economics that are involved. The Syrian regime currently is undergoing difficult times, and people say that they are better off in these parts of the province. But there's also the question of security. The Syrian regime, of course, has promised, along with Russia, to provide safety to these people. But violations and constant offensives make people question whether or not the Syrian regime is sincere in this call for people to flee these parts of Idlib province.